Awesome. We are very excited, Amanda and I, to welcome you guys to this talk on how do we maximize our performance. Whether you are a weekend warrior or you are an athlete playing a competitive sport, and just like we talked to one of the gals on, that you want to stay in this sport as long as possible, and longevity and feeling good and recovery is a big deal and it's really important. And I'll introduce myself, Christine. I'm a mother of four. I'm 51, and I started out early on. I think when I was 8, loving to run, and I was a runner that translated when I after college into sprint tries, and then 11 years ago I got into strength training and CrossFit, and I started coaching CrossFit, and then thus I started personal training and becoming a strength coach. I love the variety. I loved it. But what was important to me is how do I stay active and fit as a mom? And something that's my passion and hobby, how do I keep doing it? And so Amanda and I, both being athletes and being moms, we just want to reiterate that yes, you can continue to do things that you love, but definitely there are some best practices and some really good tools that we've learned that have helped us maximize our performance and maximize recovery and just being able to stay in the game. So I'm excited to welcome Amanda.
Hello, hi everybody. I'm Amanda, and I am a mom in my 40s now, heading towards 44 this year. And I'm working the medical field, and I've been an athlete all my life for as long as I can remember. I love to be out there playing sports and competing. And when I was younger, I don't think I remember a season where I didn't have a sport that I played. And in my teens, I looked at nutrition or what I was eating really merely as a matter of like, well, if I like my weight. So if I was at a healthy enough weight, if I wasn't gaining weight, that must have meant I was eating okay. As we all know, that's not good nutrition. And I headed into playing volleyball in college and started majoring in athletic training. And lo and behold, I learned that what I was eating, what I was putting into my body could be affecting my performance. And if only, now I look back and think if only I had learned some of the things that I've kind of taken in and learned even in the past 10 years, if I had known it back then, how it could have affected my collegiate career. But that's all behind me now, and then I moved on into my 20s and 30s and started struggling with some of the things that maybe you guys struggle with as well, of having a lack of energy, having specific joints that are really achy and painful, and trying to fit it all in with working as well. So I wasn't sure where to turn, and thankfully, a friend of mine introduced me to a company called Shaklee, which we'll talk a little bit more about here in a bit, and started using some products that were really, really helpful. And so, in my 30s, after having my son, I found that I actually got into better shape and felt stronger as a 34-year-old than I did in my 20s. And so I'm one of those people, I do think it's important that we continue learning and growing. And so I jumped back into skiing after being out of the sport for like 15, 18 years, and then just decided to pick up ultimate frisbee and mountain biking. I think that was at the age of 37. And so I really enjoy what I get to do, and that is to help people stay active and thriving in the things that they enjoy. So, what we're going to be talking about here tonight, going through finding solutions for those things that in our conversations, Christina and I find most people are running into problems with. And that is, not having the energy for their sport and then having a really tough time recovering and bouncing back. And so, we're going to look at how do we have good nutrition? How do we get all the protein that we need? And why is protein so important? What's the deal with staying hydrated, and how to get those good electrolytes back in, how sleep affects our athletic performance, and supplementation if we need it. So, as I mentioned, we're going to be talking over just general good nutrition. What's a good, healthy foundation for the food that you're putting in your body? But I also mentioned that we are going to be talking about some products that both Christine and I have fallen in love with and that fuel us on a daily basis. And so my own story with it is I'm quite the skeptic, having read a lot of studies in my undergrad, and how there's in some cases not a lot of clinical research for products, and there's just a lot of bad products out there on the market. And so I was really skeptical when I heard about Shaklee. But here are a few of the things I want to just kind of give you a brief little overview about why we believe in this product and this company. So first of all of their products are 100% money back guarantee. So if you don't like it, you can use the whole product up and say, man, I didn't feel a difference. And we will give you your money back. Shaklee has been around since 1956 and had this guarantee that entire time. So I think that tells you that they must have a good product if they're still in business with that money back guarantee. So they've been around for over 65 years. In fact, they've kind of led the wellness nutrition industry. And as you can see, their standards are pretty high. So they test for over 350 different types of possible contaminants in every ingredient. And then along the way in the process, they do over 100,000 quality control tests a year, which most supplement companies out there do a handful. There's not going to be any of the preservatives and junk in there, free of artificial flavors and sweeteners. And they really do go above organic and have literally led the way in the world of nutrition. And so one of the things that really stood out to me as an athlete was that they have a huge number of Olympic athletes. I think they have now had over 145 medals from Olympic athletes after our last Olympics, of athletes that have chosen to work with Shaklee for their supplementation. And really the main reason why Shaklee chooses to work with Olympic athletes is that their standard is higher and there's a higher level of testing. And so they know those athletes trust Shaklee with the 4 years of all their energy and effort, and they trust that Shaklee has products that are going to help them and not have any of the things in there that are going to get them in trouble. And I'm trying to think, NASA also uses Shaklee for their rehydration drink. The cleaning products were in Jacques Cousteau's expeditions. So really this company, people who have options, that Shaklee's who they've gone to for those things. So there's a lot of choices out there, but I really love that Shaklee is transparent. They have a website dedicated to show you their clinical studies so that you can read up on them. So that's a little bit about them and why both Christine and I have decided to use their products and feel safe using those for ourselves and for our families. So, all right, jumping into some of the rest of the content here. So we, in order to prepare as athletes, we know we need to have good nutrition. I think we kind of forget that and we just start eating on the go. And, but I know that I can tell a difference in my body if I'm getting what I need. And the reality is they're now recommending 5 to 7 fruits and vegetables on a daily basis. And seeing there, you know, obviously other options for good, healthy foods, lean meats, getting whole grains. And I've had friends who have kind of moved out of the college phase of their athletics and are like, now I don't need to really focus on that high nutrition. I'm not a collegiate athlete anymore. And our nutritional needs do not diminish as we age, they increase. So we need even more of those good nutrient dense foods. We may need to adjust the calorie intake that we have, but our nutritional needs actually increase. And so one thing I want to emphasize here tonight is that as we age, everything that you do off the field for your body or off the court, you know, whatever your sport is, you know, whatever you do for your body outside of practicing your skill becomes more and more and more important as you age, how you treat it. So look at your diet. Think about how you've eaten over the past 2 weeks, maybe minus Thanksgiving in there. I know there's going to, you know, be some enjoying of maybe not the best foods around that time, but think about maybe over the past 2 or 3 weeks how you've eaten. And then think of what you expect your body to be able to do. And for most of us, there's a deficit there that we expect our bodies to do way more than than what we're giving it. Like, we're not intentionally fueling our body with good, healthy foods. And as we age, that deficit has a tendency to just get bigger and bigger, which is where we put ourselves at risk for injury and getting worn down. So getting your vitamins isn't just a cute thing that your mom used to say. It actually is important and vital for your body. Those nutrients help your immune system, help your digestive system, so you're absorbing your food, hormones, creating hormones, and good balance there. And if we've learned nothing, or if we've learned anything, I should say, from the past 3 years, we know that our health is extremely vital. And so just wanting you tonight to kind of think about, what are you feeding and fueling your body with? And if I could emphasize one major thing in this category, it would be to decrease the processed foods that you're getting. We're all going to have processed foods. It's just part of our lifestyle now, in the world that we live in, but we want to do our best to try and minimize that. On average, most adults get 152 pounds of sugar a year. And that's not just from eating ice cream and candy. I used to have that perspective when I was a kid, that those were the bad foods, those were the sweets, but it's mainly in just the processed foods. Our body doesn't care if it comes from bread or pasta or crackers or ice cream and candy. It breaks it down into that same simple sugar. And so there's negative impacts for our weight, and negative impacts with some of the other ingredients included in those types of food. So that would be one of my big encouragements to use. Try and cut down on your processed foods, decreasing your sugar intake. And we need to make a plan. A good diet does not happen spontaneously. So if you keep waiting for it to just kind of happen, and that, it'll kind of figure itself out, that's not going to happen. A good diet, you have to put the planning into, plan for the week. What are going to be my meals? What are going to be my snacks? And I know for me, if I come home hungry and I don't have a plan for what I'm going to be eating, or if I don't have a plan for dinner, I'm going to open up the cabinet and be much more likely to eat something unhealthy, make the poor choice in that moment. So if we make a plan, we're much more likely to eat the healthy foods. So Christine is going to talk a little bit about macros and how we choose some of those good macronutrients.
Yeah, that was so good, Amanda, because I think the biggest, probably the struggle that most women, moms, men make is that we don't know what our food intake is, especially protein. And you're right, we eat on the go, we eat on the fly. We're just going to heat up something fast or make some chips and nachos or something really super fast. And maybe we can have a loaded nachos, but we are going to go for something that may not be as nutrient dense just because we ran out of time and we didn't plan. So macronutrients, that is a huge word that many people have heard about. Macros, and those are simply carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. And all of our bodies, we need that. Our bodies are just one of the essential things that our bodies use to break down and for food, for energy and fuel. And again, it goes back to, I love what you said, the gap, Amanda. If we're not fueling our body, how are we expecting it to perform, to have energy, to have cognitive energy, even for kids at school? So what do you need daily? And protein, I would say, hands down, is the number one macro that most people are not getting enough of. I think we're doing very well in the carb category, and depending on certain styles of eating out there, a lot of people are heavy on the fats as well. But protein, for some, it's really tough. And so we've got to plan for it. And aiming for 70 to 100 grams a day is a good ballpark. And that definitely depends on how old we are, what are our training goals, our fitness goals. Are we wanting to bulk up? Are we wanting to get toned? Are we wanting to lose weight? What is our activity level, our daily energy expenditure? That plays into how much protein, carbs, or fat. And body composition. Are we really wanting to gain muscle and lose that fat? It's so cool. I just took a guy met him at MyFitFoods. It's local here, and he stood on the InBody scan. And what I love about it is it just gave him a ballpark. It gave him a knowledge of, okay, this is his basal metabolic rate. This is how much calories, if he literally just sat at his desk and worked, what his body needs to, perform. I mean, just circulatory, breathing, organs, all of that. What calories does he need? And we looked at his skeletal system, skeletal mass, muscle mass, and he had, if he does nothing, he needs to eat 1,650 calories a day. And he realized, I'm not eating enough and I'm not eating enough protein. And his goal is to lose fat and gain muscle. So that, to me, tracking is so beneficial in giving you an idea of what to tweak and what to do. And I struggled with an eating disorder in college. So I learned I can't be obsessive about tracking, but I'm using it as a great tool every now and then when I'm realizing, okay, I feel like I'm a little off, or I want to trim up a little bit or get toner, or, look this way. Then I realize I need to be mindful of what I'm eating and take note. So this is just a great, something that we definitely can help you out after this call and another call, because I think this is really helpful and important. And I'll just segue into this real quick, and then Amanda, I'll have you do the protein, the Life Shake. But skipping breakfast, we realized that if we have to get 70 to 100 grams of protein a day and we skip breakfast, it's going to be that much harder for us to really get that protein content in a day. And breakfast is such a great win, an easy way to get 30 grams or so protein. And honestly, that's about the average amount, 30 to 35. More than that, your body's really not digesting it well, and you need to break it up in different meals throughout the day. But eating a good breakfast, most studies will say this truly gives you a jump start in the day, nutrition, energy. It's helping your body, telling your body, hey, I'm not going to starve you. So I'm not going to, really slow down the metabolism, but I'm feeding you and fueling you so I can rev up that metabolism and energize the body. And I know Amanda said earlier, in our call earlier, is drinking. Most of us have gotten into the habit of just grabbing coffee and going and counting that as breakfast. And so just like any habit, we just have to replace it with a new one. And so we had a Facebook group on a breakfast club, and it was really helping people dial in, starting the morning with water and eating protein for breakfast. And so Amanda's going to share, to me, one of my favorite all-time products that I love, that I honestly can't go without. And it's really have been an excellent choice of a shake on the go, and what my kids also do on their way to school.
Yeah, I would agree with Christine. This is one of my all-time favorite areas and nutritionally to talk about, simply because it made the biggest impact for me on my fitness level. And I want to take a minute. I'm going to brag on Christine a little bit. I want to encourage you guys to really take to heart what she says, because this woman is amazing. She put on the invite, hearing from some badass women warriors, and I really think she wears that title most appropriately. She's in her 50s. She's been doing CrossFit, and she wouldn't brag on herself like this, but for her age category, competing in the CrossFit Games, she was in the top 50 in the world. So, like, out of, I think she said top 50 out of like 8,000 competitors. So, she really has honed this in for herself and does a really great job for her clients. So, take to heart what she has to say. She's got some great things and a lot of good life experience being a mom of four as well. So I love this product as well. And I love talking about protein, like I said, because it made such a big difference for me. So as I dive into this one, before I jump into the actual product, I want you to take a listen to kind of what I think are some of the key takeaways from this whole talk. If you don't remember anything else, hopefully you'll remember these points. That the reason protein is so important is because we have about a 5% loss of muscle mass per decade starting at the age of 30. So hear that again, a 5% muscle mass per decade. So about 5 to 10 pounds starting at the age of 30. So we know that muscle is the motor, the engine for all the fun things that we like to do. So all the things that we're talking about that we want to help you do, we start losing that at the age of 30. We start slowing down. It's harder to keep up, as I have, had to learn and really work hard at in some of the sports that I've been playing. And then for women, men too, but for women, this is why we tend to see such a big change in our body composition as we age. And for women in your 40s, 50s, as you get towards menopause, you have that decrease of estrogen, you're losing muscle mass. This is why we have a lot of women come to us and say, I'm gaining weight even though I'm eating how I've always eaten, and a lot of it around the midsection, and I just can't get rid of it. It's for this reason, is because our metabolism is slowing down as we're losing our muscle mass. We also know, secondly, that as we age, our assimilation of amino acids, the building blocks of proteins, our assimilation of amino acids from protein decreases with age. So that by the time we get to the age of 50, we need 50% more protein than the recommended daily allowance in order to be building muscle and make use of our resistance exercise. So muscle mass is going down, our absorption of protein and our ability to make muscle is also decreasing. So I know that paints a bleak picture, but we have strategies that can help you with that. We also know that when it comes to competitions or big events or really big workouts, we know that we break down that muscle mass, and that I want people to walk away knowing that recovery is just as important as the workout itself. Recovery is just as important as the competition if you're going to be able to be ready for the next tournament or game. So this is where and why we find this product so helpful. Because it doesn't matter if all the practice, all the effort that you put into learning your skill, whatever sport it is that you play, if you don't have the ability to perform at the level that you need to carry out that skill. So all the hours that you're putting in to get better at your sport, unless your body has the ability to carry that out and to maintain that, you're not making use of all those hours of effort you've put into it. So we want to give your body the ability to recover, so that your finish line, where you finish and you're able to recover, that's going to be your starting line for your next game, your next competition, the next day at the tournament. So if you leave yourself back here, then where you finished is now your new starting line, and we want to be able to get you back up to where you were. So that's where this can become so helpful. So with the Life Shake, like I said, this is one of my favorites. It's got 20 grams of protein in and of itself. It's non-GMO. And the big thing there is, it said in the middle, it says it's powered by leucine. Leucine is the main amino acid that stimulates your body to build protein. So it does these three things. It stimulates protein synthesis, even lengthening the amount of time that your body builds protein following a meal over other amino acids. It increases the mitochondrial biogenesis. So those mitochondria are those energy producing organisms or structures in your cells. And then it decreases the energy stores in your fat cells and promotes your body's use of those energy stores, helping, like we said, in your overall body composition. So for me, I'm celiac, so it's gluten-free. It's Shaklee's, most of their products are going to be gluten-free. Low glycemic index. Protein is also rated by its digestibility. Like there's a scientific score on its digestibility, and these protein sources have pretty much a perfect score for digestibility. So it's really good for those, like say tournament days or days where you've got long endurance and you need protein and you need to replace it, but you need something that's going to be digested easily and not upset your stomach as you get back into sport. So, Christine, if you can go on to the next slide for me. I'm really particular about protein powders for people. When people are like, oh, I'll just get whatever I can at the store. I've read numerous studies. I've kind of gone in depth in this topic, because I want to know, am I just telling people to buy expensive stuff that they don't need to? And it was really confirming to me that no, it is so important to pay attention to what you're putting in your body. So several studies that I read, 3 in particular, that all said for protein out on the market, they found scary amount of lead, mercury, and steroids in the protein powder. And the thing that all 3 of those studies had in common that they said was that they didn't go searching out into the depths of the internet on like bodybuilder sites to find these products. These were products they got off of store shelves, easily accessible to families that are just purchasing for their family. So you have to be really careful about, what you're putting in your body. It's just as important what's in it as what's not in it. And so obviously you don't want those contaminants in a product that you're going to be taking on a regular basis.
Oh, so good. Love it. And then I mean, you guys can see on the screen, just even the comparison of when we don't plan and we're grab and go and we grab a Starbucks For some people, those become habits. And whether we are hungry and we grab a muffin, or like right here, it's like a coffee cake, and you can see the calories compared to a meal replacement, the Life Shake, the protein, the sugar. Look at that, 39 grams to 5 grams if you had the side on the left, and carbohydrates. So all of this adds up if we want to perform well, recover well, and really have body composition, whatever our goals are. All of this makes a big difference.
Yeah. So, again, I love the research. I don't want to dive in too much, but I want you guys to know that it really does matter. And in the long term, this affects your play. This affects the performance level that you have. So these were studies done, clinical studies done by several universities on Shaklee's Life Shake. And what they found, it was at 12 weeks, and I believe they did it at 3, 6, 9, and even I think 12 months out of what's the effect of using this product. As you can see, for muscle, or excuse me, for fat loss there, with exercise and the Life Shake, on the picture on the left, they lost 9 pounds and gained 5 pounds of muscle. And so that is a 14 and a half pound improvement in your body composition. And then there's a follow-up to that slide. That's the initial study. They showed nearly an 18-pound benefit in your body composition down the road. So it keeps working for you on down the road. And there on the right, it's looking at bone density, and this has actually really been shown to be really beneficial. Not only the weight bearing exercise for women at risk for osteoporosis, but the strength training and keeping those muscles strong has also been shown to be beneficial. So there's the clinical studies out there, and there's way more that I could go into for that. But that's where we can see a shift in people's body composition when they start being intentional, and then think about how that makes a difference in your recovery and your play, as far as the sport that you're in, or the activity that you enjoy doing. Leaner body, more muscle, you're going to do better at your sport.
That's awesome. Yeah. And I think the build, again, even just Amanda has shared, just the muscle tissue breaking down during exercise. What are we doing to really put in our bodies the right kind of protein, the right kind of things that have all the 9 essential amino acids for that protein synthesis? And because protein is the building block of all cells, it rebuilds our muscle, and it truly does change our body composition. And it is like the longevity organ. Muscle is our longevity organ. And again, you saw on the previous slide that as we're putting into like the Life Shake and the exercise, we're really protecting our bones, and that osteoporosis, that weight bearing, it's really helpful, making sure that also that holistic health is part of that, and the leucine that goes on. So there's a lot of different proteins that Shaklee even offers, whether it's plant, non-GMO soy protein, which is also plant, and whey. They all are just excellent in what they provide. Now, starting from the proper nutrition and really making sure that protein is highlighted. It's either the king or queen, however you want to look at it, protein in our eating. But then the third thing that we wanted to mention out of 5 is hydration. And that's a big deal. Like during your physical exercise, even if it's cold weather, hot weather, you are losing those electrolytes. So easily we can become dehydrated. I think I remember reading something when people were inside in air conditions, they thought, well, I don't need to drink as much. But even in air conditioning, even in cold weathers, you're still needing to hydrate your cells. And when you're dehydrated, your body there's a great impact in your performance, in your causing fatigue, causing muscle soreness, causing cramps, headaches. Honestly, when my kids come home and say, even my daughter today came home and said, I have a headache. I'm like, how much water did you drink? That's like the number one thing I ask her, and then it's just, again, reminding of what's happening to your body. So as we exercise, we are that athlete. We are that warrior athlete. We need to replenish the electrolytes. So how do you do that? There's some great sponsored products, branded products out on the market. And it was so interesting. I was Googling some of the top elite athletes. What do they drink on the sidelines? What is their choice of rehydration drinks? And most of them have their own brand or their own electrolytes with lemon not the typical brand when you see the caution tape on the top of this slide that is sponsored. And the reason why is that has so much sugar causing tooth decay. There's been a lot of studies on that, but also just the amount of calories, to the sugar, to the dyes and sweeteners and preservatives and colorings that we don't need in our body. So again, it's important to replenish, but also it's safer doing the right kind of replenishing with your body. And again, electrolytes, we need that for nerve and muscle function and truly to optimize our performance. And I'll say this, tag this, and then I'll have Amanda go, but she shared earlier that the hydration that Shaklee now has, it started way back in, decades ago when NASA asked Shaklee to partner with them because all the astronauts were returning and they were passing out. And so Shaklee was asked by NASA, which how many wellness companies are asked by NASA to say, hey, make us a rehydration so that our astronauts, they were having symptoms, if you can read, vertigo, fatigue, GI issues, and disequilibrium. And so Shaklee provided AstroAid, and then years later, they provided the hydrate that we now drink. So I love that the products that Shaklee has are powering elite athletes. You can see Captain Mark Kelly and his twin brother, both astronauts, and just how the life strip that Amanda will share is floating in the shuttle. It's kind of cool. That's something that NASA trusts, the quality and the efficacy of this product. And sleep. Sleep is huge. So this is a fourth item that we have found is truly beneficial to recovery. And it's interesting. I think I look at my kids that want to stay up really, really late, and I'm like, how do they function? And as we get older, I think we realize we just don't recover and don't function as well when we're not lacking sleep. Again, it's so interesting to me when I think of the elite athletes. What are they doing? How are they? They are the best of the best in their game. And I mentioned three here: Tom Brady, LeBron, and Steph Curry. And Tom Brady has a sleep routine. He's got this recovery like pajamas he puts on. It's lights out. It's really dark. It's cold. He has a certain temperature. No electronics. And then LeBron, 12 hours, Steph Curry, 10 hours and 2.5, even before game day. But again, there are definitely tweaks that we can do in our regimen of putting on blue blockers, stopping the electronics in the room, stop eating 2 hours before for the GI distress and digestion, no caffeine. And honestly, the benefits are so significant in the blood sugar levels, the hormones being balanced. There were studies showed that when, we're not getting enough sleep, the ghrelin, the hunger hormone, it's not satiated. And so we're always hungry. And so it might be that person that wakes up at midnight and they're not getting sleep. So what do? They go to the fridge, they eat something, they're setting everything off. If we're not getting good sleep, that muscle is not getting repaired. There's so much to the brain and the activity that needs to slow down. And we really need to get into that parasympathetic calming state. Here's what I'll say before I pass it on the baton to Amanda is that there's a couple of products that I have realized are truly useful, helpful. They are in my herbal medicine cabinet. One is a Dream Serene, and it's got this patent pending valerian, but also it's got 2 milligrams of melatonin. It really does get you to sleep. My husband's been using it for weeks, and he can attest that just getting to sleep faster, sleeping better, and through the night. So that to me it travels with us. And this other one, stress relief, also travels with us. I think cortisol is the biggest thing when we have stress. We don't sleep well. Our cortisol causes, again, to me, that belly fat. A lot of the things that we are finding the health issues with high stress in our lifestyle, that this is something that really is a great alternative to what's out on the market. It's safe. And really it's a non-drowsy that blunts cortisol so that you truly can have some relief and in a good, healthy way of getting those hormones balanced out.
Yeah, thanks, Christine. Two things I just want to add to the hydrate. Again, the clinical studies, Shaklee has proof in terms of studies they've done with cyclists and how those cyclists have performed on water, on other brands, and on the hydrate drink. And it was crazy the increased endurance that they had on hydrate. So it really does matter, how you're replenishing those electrolytes. And again, the clinical studies to show that it works. And then I certainly would agree with Christine and what she said about sleep. Like, it's like we know the things that we need to do: drink water, get a good diet, and sleep. Like, imagine how you would feel if you did those three things, how good your body would feel. And definitely, if you're someone who finds yourself waking up in the middle of the night and you're kind of wide awake, that is a symptom of high cortisol levels, that stress response. And that's where the stress relief can be helpful, to take that in the evening to help kind of blunt that effect so that you can get back into that good sleep rhythm. So as we've talked about how nutrition is so important, we're going to find that each of us has gaps where, whether our job or the timing of the year and our ability to get fresh fruits and vegetables, and then our genetic disposition. We all may have certain family health history that we've inherited, and that then we may need to help fill in some nutritional gaps. The vast majority of Americans have, about 90%, have some form of nutritional deficiency, whether it be vitamin B or D, or any number of them. So we're not going to be perfect. We don't expect you to be perfect. I don't live a perfect diet lifestyle, and there's going to be times where as far as what I'm taking in, I'm not getting what I need. And so that's where I utilize the products, again, that Shaklee has created. So important, I just was blown away by this, that Shaklee actually, as I told you, was a leader in nutritional research. They actually also invented the multivitamin here in the United States. Way back in 1915 was the first multivitamin here. And so Shaklee's been leading the way with that, and obviously has come a long way from 1915, but continues to have amazing clinical research behind those. And so in terms of filling in those gaps for you, Vitalizer is one really great way to do that. It has a multivitamin with additional B and C vitamins, omegas, and a probiotic. And again, really because they wanted to have only ingredients and things that we know that there's very, very, very strong clinical proof that these help aid your overall health. And so it helps in a variety of ways. I'm not going to go into all the different ways that each of those things can benefit your health, but the Vitalizer itself has, again, several clinical studies showing that it is broken down, because who wants to pay for something that's not actually absorbed by the body, so that it is broken down and absorbed into your body, into the bloodstream. And I guess the big takeaway that I want to say from this is that we can tailor what it is that you need. And so if you are someone that maybe struggles with PMS and really terrible periods, cramps that keep you from playing like you normally would, and performing like you normally would, or you're not able to go to the gym because it's so painful, migraines, or really, painful digestion, we can look at what are those things that we can help naturally to help provide solutions for you for those issues. So this is just one example of one of the products that Shaklee offers, but there's some others that we can look at depending on what your needs are.
Yeah, that's so awesome. And as you mentioned, just the tailoring, there is a personalized nutrition assessment that we give away to our clients and customers for free, and we go over them. And that is just a great way to understand, oh, maybe I do have some hereditary things or doctor recommendations, or what would it say for me? And here are my top health goals. So it really has an algorithm that's pretty amazing that spits out nutrition, or spits out just a recommended supplementation that would be based on what you input. And it's really helpful. I think it just sheds light on a lot of people that I've used it with. So that is something we definitely will give to you guys. If you want, just ask us for that. We'll send it to you. And then Recover. Again, I feel like this might have drawn so many of you guys to hear, how do I recover well so that I can get back into my sport, so that I can get back into the gym, so I can keep doing what I love to do. And sometimes we do need some extra TLC and some products that will help aid that. DOMS, delayed onset muscle soreness, is a big deal. And so this product, the PM Recovery, it's, to me, it's like a two for, in that you get this great tart cherry extract, really helps optimize recovery and that muscle soreness, but then also it really helps you sleep well. It has this, improves it. There's something with it that you sleep like a baby too. So I think it's a 2-for-1, and it has a patented pain relief blend in it as well. Especially there are times that we overexert. We're not eating maybe in our proper nutrition, and we push it. And then we realize, oh my gosh, I can't get back on that bike. I can't get back on my feet. I need to take an extra week off. And this is something that really will help with that, promoting that recovery. And then on the right, collagen. As Amanda said, as we age, we lose our muscle mass, which is so sad, but we can definitely do some things to really encourage our muscle and encourage metabolism and protein synthesis. And so sometimes it's, again, what are we putting into our body and digesting and eating? And so this collagen, that's been a buzzword, it's out there, but you see the -9, there are 9 essential amino acids, and there are some brands out there, if you look, that do not have all 9 essential amino acids. So therefore, you're not getting a complete protein synthesis. So that's so important to have a collagen. And this, to me, is, again, made by the most clinically proven wellness company out there. They have 10 grams of protein, or collagen, which is the most abundant, natural occurring protein source in your body. But again, as we age, our body makes less collagen. And so this gives you collagen. It gives you structure and strength to your skin, bones, muscles, tendons, and ligaments. So this, to me, might be a really easy additive to your diet. I put a couple of scoops in my smoothie, and it's great. So I feel like this is definitely a necessity when we know we're aging and we need a little extra collagen in our system.
Yeah. So tonight we've kind of packed a lot in, but we've talked about how to give your body the energy that it needs to be ready. And so that takes the preparation, it takes the intentionality, thinking about what you're eating. We've got to move past our teens and 20s where we don't really have to think about it and our body can automatically do it. We've got to put in that intentionality, and we can help with that. If nutrition is a struggle for you, you're not sure what to eat and when, we can help with that. Let us know. We've talked about the importance of being well hydrated. And here in Colorado, both Christine and I live here in Colorado, for those who are watching it out in another state. But here, it is so easy to get dehydrated, and our thirst mechanism is slow to the game to let us know that we need to get more water. And so to stay up on that water and to rehydrate, replenishing electrolytes is, as we know, super important for our performance. And then getting the protein that we need to be able to build muscle and to recover from whatever competitions we've had. So I think that's where, to look at your specific needs, we can talk with you kind of one-on-one and say, and kind of hear from you, what stood out to you here tonight? What things do you want to work on? Do you want some accountability on? And so I think kind of my big takeaways or things that I would want to emphasize for you is that idea of, let's make a plan. Let's be intentional with your health. If you really want to get the most out of your performance, we've got to create a good foundation of nutrition and with your diet. Know that as we're aging, probably one of the biggest things that affects our performance is that loss of muscle mass. And there's things that we can do to help slow that down and counteract it. Again, you just have to be intentional with it. So thank you for being on, for taking time to listen. Obviously, we've invited you because we respect you in your sport and what you do, and want to be able to help you do that to your very best. So I'm going to hand it off to Christine here.
Yes, thanks for joining us, you guys. And honestly, some of you might be listening and to this video after Cyber Monday, which is tonight. And so there is a special, but we definitely have some promos and some additional savings, even if you're listening to this, post this day in a recording. Please reach out, because I think having a plan and executing that plan, Amanda and I are the experts in this. We will love to walk you through what you need, where you're at next, and just reach out. We'll send you the nutrition assessment and go over it with you and find what your best next steps are. And then for those that really are thinking, Gosh, this is cool. I think both Amanda and I love being on teams. We have played sports with teams, and it's just that wellness team for me. Amanda and I are in the same wellness team, and we love it. So we're always keeping our eyes and ears open for someone else that would even want to join or consider looking at what our wellness team is. It's just, it's something that we have loved, and we can utilize our gifts and strengths, but gosh, there are more places at the table for so many others. So if you're curious about what that looks like financially and, extra stream of income to even being part of a wellness tribe, let us know. We would love to chat. And again, thanks for joining us. Thanks for being a part of this time together. Amanda and I have really enjoyed, just connecting with you guys. And we look forward to hearing from you guys after this.